It looks like the RF 70-200mm f2.8 L image stabilized USM-Z is no longer just a rumor. Thanks to Canon rumors, we have a couple of pictures of this soon to be released lens. But before we get to the details, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps this channel grow, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera coverage. I really love leaked images. I love leaked pricing. I love all that stuff. And I especially love leaked images when the images, well, they're not blurry. They're high resolution. We can clearly make out the details. Now, Canon rumors does say that it looks to be the 70-200mm f2.8 image stabilized USM-Z. That will be the second Z lens coming out since the 24-105 f2.8 last year. This lens isn't going to be cheap, and we'll get to pricing in a minute, but let's go ahead and flash up some of these images. This is likely a 70-200mm. We can see 70mm, 100mm, 135, and it's not a 70-135 because we can see that little indicator past the 135 teasing us that it's most likely going to be a 200mm, because if it went far past that, and I can't see that happening, well, it would probably get the white treatment, right? So most likely a 70-200, unless Canon has a sense of humor and decides to do, I don't know, 70-240 or something like that. So a 70-200mm. Now this photo also tells us a few other things as well. We can see that it has the exact same switches that we see on the 100-500. It's got that autofocus and manual switch. And of course you can choose whether you want it to be on full or 2.5 meters and beyond. Obviously it's got that stabilizer switch and stabilization mode. It's hard to tell from this image, but if we pixel peep, it does look like it has 3 stabilization modes like the 100-500, but don't quote me on that because it's really blurry, it's hard to see, and I'm just kind of, well, maybe I'm making things up because I'm used to the 100-500. It's got similar markings, so I'm thinking it's got 3 stabilization options. Now there is one other switch we see on this lens, and well, let's cue the image again. We can see that it's got that iris switch, and that's a spring-loaded iris switch that holds the aperture ring in place, preventing us from making any, well, accidental changes. I hate that. You got everything set up, you start shooting, and you come back and you realize things are completely screwed up, and it's not because you didn't take the time to set things up, it's because being a bit of a dumbass, accidentally changed the settings. So that's really good to have. So let's talk about pricing, because this isn't going to be cheap. The 24-105 f4 currently sells for, I believe, $12.99 at Adorama, B&H, and Amazon, all your favorite local camera stores. But the Z version, huge price jump to $29.99. Now the 70-200mm f2.8 image stabilized USM, the non-Z version, isn't exactly cheap at $27.99, currently $100 off at $26.99. So I would assume that, oh, I'm afraid to even project here, but don't expect it to be any cheaper than the 24-105 f2.8 image stabilized USM-Z. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes above that $3,000 mark. It's certainly going to make it expensive, but this is an internal zoom lens. It's going to have most likely parfocal zooming because, well, it's a zoom lens. The 24-105 had parfocal zooming. Well, I would call it quasi-parfocal zooming. It's not what you would see in a cinema lens, but it gives you the results and pretty well mirrors that. And parfocal zooming is pretty impressive, especially if you're shooting video. And what it allows you to do is you can zoom in, but your focus point doesn't change. So you can stay locked onto your subject or your object and zoom in or zoom out, and it stays locked, and that's pretty impressive. And I would also expect at this price, like it did with the 24-105, focus breathing is going to be, well, non-existent. Now, I don't know how it's going to go about doing that, but when are we expecting to see this lens? Well, obviously, we're about a week away, just over a week away, before Canon starts shipping the R5 Mark II and the R1. And if they wanted this lens to be out for this August the 20th date, they would have announced it back on July the 17th. So I wouldn't expect the lens this month. The whole focus right now is going to be getting enough R5 Mark IIs out the door, along with the R1s. And of course, all those battery grips, batteries, lens, hot shoe covers. What else? Eye cups. They're all out of stock at this point, so it's getting all that stuff out the door. And of course, then we have back to school, we have back to work, we have all that crazy time. So we can expect to see this lens announced sometime between the middle of September to the end of October, along with, and maybe not at the same date, but along with the 24mm f1.4L as well as the 50mm f1.4L. We did predict some dates for these earlier on, and we're pretty bang on, but one thing to remember is Canon is seeing so many delays that these dates can get pushed, and we've already seen these dates pushed. This lens was supposed to be announced back in June, and that didn't happen. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm not going to get into details about deals of the week because until Sunday rolls over, we're not going to have new deals, but I've got a whole bunch of deals down below. Some 20 to 30 cameras from Canon and Nikon that are deeply discounted along with lenses. We have a bunch of pre-orders available, including the Canon EOS R5 Mark II and the EOS R1. If you're really interested in this, I recommend pre-ordering now because they're already on Canon's apology list saying, hey, we're sorry, we don't have enough of these. I think this is going to be similar to the R5 Mark I, where you're going to have to wait many months. And even if you go ahead and pre-order today, you're probably looking at many months. But the question is, do you want it this year? Or do you want to have to wait until sometime mid next year? But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. And if you do use my pre-order links or any of the links down below, my affiliate links, I can get a small commission back, anywhere from 2 to 8%. And that really depends on whether you purchase something or not. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to put in any codes, fill out any forms. It just takes you directly to the site. You get to pre-order your favorite camera or get a discount. And as a big thanks, I get a small commission back without it costing you anything at all. So what a better way to support this channel. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll see you again soon.